Hello and welcome to the Checkpoint Reach podcast. I'm your host Luke Elder, and today I'm joined by Matty and Sud. There is no Perks today. He's, chilling in a different room.
He's enjoying the nice sun. I'm sure we all believe that. Don't we?
I'm pretty sure he isn't.
No one believes it.
100%.
No, he
sure
hates the
not.
sun. He hates the sun, to be fair. So.
Yeah, he does burn pretty easily, so that is probably not the case.
I enjoyed a bit of the sun earlier. I had a little sit out in the garden.
I could not imagine you sitting out in the garden.
Oh, it was nice. It was nice and sunny. It was, get a bit of that vitamin D in you,
Yes. Yeah.
So,
get some D in your pal.
yeah.
Mate, I just, for some reason, I cannot envisage you just sat there chilling and thinking, this is a lovely day. It just doesn't...
Well, there's a lot about me you don't know then, isn't there?
Well, yeah, clearly, and I've known you for years.
Hey, come on, everyone likes a nice chill in the sun now and again. It's alright, isn't it? Get a bit of sun in you.
Well, yeah, and it's needed, obviously, in isolation, again.
Yeah.
We're still in lockdown, and wherever you are in the world, if you listen to this, we hope you're doing well and you're all safe and sound. We're here to discuss some more some gaming news this week, like normal, but first we want to jump into what we've been playing, because us three actually did a Let's Play of Sea of Thieves, as we like to call it, though, Sea of Piss.
Yeah, Sea of Piss. So we got back on the Sea of Piss train.
Yeah,
as we like to call it. We'll
No spoilers allowed.
We'll probably get about 10 dislikes just for calling it Sea of Piss, but, I think it's worth it personally.
I think it lived up to his name.
I don't think Microsoft invests as much in automatic algorithms to dislike your videos. So.
No, hopefully not. So, but yeah, no, I mean, it was kind of interesting to go back, wasn't it? It's a game we haven't played for 2 years, pretty much.
Yeah, since it came out.
It was interesting to see if the game had changed much and things like that.
Well, not much has changed, but obviously if you want to go and see that playthrough, I'm sure it'll be on the channel at some point.
It will be on the channel very soon.
I mean, I've got to say, though, I will say that with our playthrough, I did actually point something out towards, I don't know if it was towards the end of the video, it might have cut off the video, but I actually went into the pause menu, there was like loads of missions to do that we didn't see. Initially, if you remember me saying, there's like these tall tale things and stuff like that, and like pirate missions that
sail to a location, pick up a chest and ride it back to another island.
Yeah, it was fun. It's fun time. Right. I mean, losing chests on ships and trying to jump on them to get the stuff inside them and stuff. It was fun times. So I'm sure people will see that on the channel. But yeah, I mean, I guess we were probably thinking of maybe doing another one at some point. So maybe next time we'll try and do one of these missions.
Yeah, it left on a little bit of a cliffhanger. No spoilers. So, yeah, we'll have to record the next episode.
Yeah, to be fair, it was a bit of a laugh on it. We had a laugh, to be fair. So
we did. I think you mentioned it during the stream that it's just casual playing.
It is an easy game to play. I will say this about the game, like, I don't think it's like a great game or anything, certainly not. But I will say it, if you've got a group of mates to play with, it's probably not a bad choice because you can have a bit of a laugh. And it's quite relaxing to play as well. Like, the game looks nice and things like that. I think it's quite a relaxing game to play, so I think it's fun in that aspect.
It is, and you guys, like we've mentioned, it'll be on the channel soon, so you can check it out if you want. Though, what else have you been playing? Anything else that jumps out?
Well, the last day or two, I've gone back to the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I had a bit of a break from it, like a week break from it.
How's that been?
I've been playing that again. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it's great, to be fair. They've done a really great job with it. If you're a fan, obviously, of the original. I mean, I've got to be honest with you, I never really properly played the original. Like, I messed around with it back in the day, but I never properly played through it or anything, so I was always more
busy sunbathing, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have time in 1997 to be playing Final Fantasy VII, but as a 5-year-old kid sunbathing. But no, to be fair, I've always been a massive fan of Final Fantasy X, which I know it's probably your favourite as well, Matty. A game that was, big in our childhood, but I missed out on Final Fantasy VII because I was probably a bit young for it at the time, so obviously the remake's a good chance for people like me to go back and play it properly for the first time. I just really like it, the music's great. They've done a really good job with the voice acting and things like that. It's really fun to play, the combat system's really fun, the story's really interesting, so unfortunately this is only the first part of the game, so there's going to be another 2 games to go after this.
Yeah.
Because they've split it into 3 parts, which is probably going to take about 10 years for them to get them all out. But I'm really enjoying it. I definitely recommend it to fans, obviously, of that genre. I mean, I think, to be fair, you don't need my recommendation. I think by now people
Yeah, I
will
think they're
be
already on it.
playing
aren't
it.
they?
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and it's sold really well as well. So it's done well in that aspect. So it's been quite a success, I think, for Square Enix. So they've done well there.
Right, that's good to hear.
So what about you? Have you been playing anything else? Or
Well, I mentioned off air briefly that I've started Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yeah. Interesting game.
Yeah. However,
Definitely an interesting game.
I've literally only played it for around, I'd like to say maybe an hour, and I didn't do much in the hour.
I think there's a lot. Isn't a lot of cutscenes in the first hour and stuff, and like
a
lot of story things. So
there is a lot of setting up taking place, but it was just really slow. I didn't expect it to be so
slow game.
slow.
It is purposely like that, though. It's the way the combat system is and everything. If you play a bit more, you'll find out with the combat. But it's one of them games. I think a lot of people probably are going to play it for like half an hour and go, I don't know about this. Not for me.
I could be that person.
Possibly, yeah. I'd say maybe try and give it a little bit longer, but I mean, I did get through that initial hour or two, and I found it opened up quite a lot after that. After the first area you're in, it kind of expands. Things happen in that area, and it kind of expands upon that. I really like the main character, that Henry guy. He's pretty cool, to be fair. He's actually a really good character. I think he's quite likeable, quite charismatic.
Good. Is it right? Is it just me? But take away from the main character, he's alright. Yeah. But I felt like a lot of the supporting characters at the start, and just characters in general you bump into, that the voice acting was
poor. Some of it's I think, to be fair, it's one of them games where the main cast clearly is where the voice acting budget has gone, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And maybe the rest
are just devs.
Yeah. Because actually the guy that the Henry guy's voice actor is actually really good. I really liked his voice acting.
Yeah, he was fine, but
yeah.
was like
some of the others are like,
why aren't you joining us, Hal?
it's almost reminiscent of like the Fable voice acting, isn't it? Parts.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh god.
Yeah,
and I did. To be fair, I did start it really late. I started at like 4 a.m, and I was like, I can't be arsed with this. Yeah. So I played some NBA, which is just simple,
I keep forgetting about that. I mean, I'm keep meaning to download that because I've heard it's really good.
It is good.
This year's
good.
One, so.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. How about you though, Mai? What have you been playing?
Been playing Football Manager for the first time in about 4 years, and not much has changed really.
Did you start?
The question. Yeah.
I always start as United.
Yeah.
Boo.
Makes sense.
I had like 40 million to spend. It's just like it's the same crap every year. They give United such a low budget. I've always had a conspiracy theory that SI absolutely fucking despise United. Because
there we go.
They're never good.
They're
never good in any save that you ever play. You know what I mean? Like if you just let the AI take control of them, within like 3 seasons they're bankrupt and relegated. All the players that are actually used to be good.
I think
players.
that's a bit drastic.
I've never seen United get relegated on foot.
Well, I did on 2018. I've got to be honest with that one, but they're never like competing at the top. And you've seen it with Van Persie back in the day. 20 for every start.
Yeah, he was rubbish.
You use him and he can't score a goal. He scores 2 goals in the season.
Yeah.
You told me he was not good. He does not score. He misses every chance. I was like, nah, I'll still buy him for Newcastle. Horrendous. The guy was missing penalties. He was missing one-on-one.
Yeah, he was so bad.
He scored like 3 goals.
It's like it gets to the point where it's like there must be something written into the game engine as to why he can't score, because he had like 20 technique and like 19 finishing or something on that.
And that was in like
finish a one-on-one.
That was in the season where he got the golden boot, wasn't it? When United decided on his own, pretty much. So it's weird how they made him so bad. It's really strange.
It was strange. Great. I really enjoy this year's footy, man. Though I mean, me and
Seb
had
fun. We've had a few good saves, haven't we? We've had 2 or 3 good saves now.
Yeah, I know. I just love how you quit every time. I got Sheffield Wednesday promoted, and you're like, nah, I lost in the playoff final, not playing again.
Mate, that was the most. That might be one of the most heartbreaking moments I've ever run on footy, man. Because
mate, it was late as well.
Mate, we worked so hard on our squads, didn't we? In that like second season to try and get them like promotion ready. And,
we did.
And it's like I was flirting with second place for so long in that season. I went on a horror run and finished like 4th or whatever. Dropped out and then I lost in the playoff final. I won the league,
didn't I? I thought I only just went up, but I won the league.
No, you won the league by like 16 points, didn't you? Oh, well, you won promotion by like 16 points. You got 106 points, I think. In the end.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, because you went on a ridiculous run towards the end where you won like 15 out of 17 games or something. But
I forgot about that.
I think first impressions for me on it are decent, to be honest. I like how you can delegate a load of things to different staff members. Yeah. That's probably one of the best features they put in the game.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
because I've played 3 games in the Premier League. I've won 2. I've drawn 1. I've got having an all right start, but I haven't seen someone score a header yet. So I'm hoping that centre backs don't score 15 to 20 goals a season on this one.
No, I've got to be honest with you.
No,
right?
they don't.
So hopefully they've fixed it.
I'm trying to think now, Eld. Yeah, that might be a good point. You don't actually see many headers scored on the game.
Well, I watch the balls, don't I? So I don't know.
Oh yeah, of course.
Well, I don't know which one it was. We was playing, but the last one I played, like literally one of the seasons, a centre back was top scorer in the Premier League. I think it was like John Terry or something.
Do you remember like Ryan Shawcross on like was it 30 man 12? He went into like the best centre back in the world, and he scored like 20 headers a season.
Mate, do you remember Danny Wilson on like 30 man 10? He turned into the best centre back in the world.
So
Liverpool signed him in real life, and I was like, what?
Where is he now?
Going to be class? Yeah, he's crap. I think he's like captain of. Well, he was at Hearts, but I don't know where he is. Yeah, mate. Oh, it's such a shame that your internet can be temperamental at times because I'd love to do a footy man save.
I'll try and get hooked up to the by Ethernet cable and then see if we can play.
Mate, it'd be so fun
next week or something.
The only problem is don't get too attached to your teams because Sud might not carry on.
You're not going to let me live that down.
No, because it's happened twice. I got Blackpool promoted, and you took Middlesbrough down. You got sacked. You got sacked 4 times. 4 times.
I think it was 3, and I got sacked.
I'm pretty sure it's 4 because you got sacked.
Amount of times being sacked. This is like the Halo where it went from I had 0 kills and 20 deaths to 0 kills and 25 deaths.
No. I will tell you exactly how many deaths you had. You had 0 kills and 32 deaths. Because I saw it with my own eyes. It's never changed. It's consistently stayed the same. It was the worst performance I've ever seen from any human being in any multiplayer game.
Mate, it was rough times. Like we were playing.
There was 50 kills to win. There's 4 players in a team, and you contributed 0 kills and died 32 times.
I think I got a few assists in that game. So.
Well, there you go. Did your bit, didn't you? To be fair,
I did my bit. I got like 2 assists.
I was just saying, stop. Please stop running in and dying. Just hide in a corner and go away.
I thought it was a great performance there on Halo 3.
Sounds like it, mate. Mate, it's historic.
Years ago,
this is in the book, legend books. Books of legends.
But just to go back a minute for the 30 man thing, right? I will say, you have to admit yourself, though, this time around, it was more forgivable for me to not carry on than the Middlesbrough one. Because at least the Middlesbrough one was like...
Yeah, but you kept stringing me along. I don't know, mate. I just need a few days to get over the loss. And I'm like...
I can't get it, mate. I don't think I'll ever get over that playoff final loss. To lose on penalties in the playoff final is the most heartbreaking thing anyone can go through.
And literally nothing happened in the game.
I know, it was an awful game. It was against Stoke, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Stoke.
Fucking bloody Stoke.
It was. Oh, sad times. But yeah, hopefully we can, sort out a save. That would be really good. But yeah, we should probably jump into this topic of the day. Get chatting about some of the gaming news from the past week. Well, actually, I say past week. This one dropped today, didn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty recent. Last hour or so.
Yeah. Guerrilla is planning a Horizon Zero Dawn trilogy. Plans for the next-gen sequel indicate gigantic scope and a co-op mode. Now, it says that multiple sources have told VGC that Sony Interactive Entertainment has greenlit ambitious plans for the why can't I say that word? Apocalyptic. Yeah, open world franchise which debuted in 2017 with 10 million selling Zero Dawn. So, yeah, I mean, it's not really news that we didn't expect.
No, I think the news from it is... Well, I'll just put your head in there. I think the news from it is probably the things about like co-op and about the scale of the game and stuff like that, rather than the actual... Okay. I mean, we know, don't we, that Horizon... We knew there was going to be a sequel. And,
there had to be. It sold well and it was a fantastic
and it's not a surprise
game.
It's going to be a trilogy, really. I mean, probably expect
I've just literally took a call from one of my insiders, and I have confirmed, this is confirmed news, that Forza Motorsport 8 is in the works. I know that's really surprising to everyone.
Is that an exclusive?
Yeah, I think it's going to be exclusive to Xbox and Windows 10 from what I'm hearing. So
does it have co-op?
Some really interesting news there. I mean, I've also got rumours. I mean, this is still unconfirmed, so I don't. It is a rumour still that FIFA 21 is in the works. Developers over at EA, they're in the process of developing FIFA 21. So make of that what you will. I'm not sure. I mean, we've seen it released annually for the last 30 years, but I'm not sure. Make of that. Just like I said, take it with a grain of salt. That could be coming around. They think around October time. That is the time that I'm hearing that this is coming out. So keep an eye out for that one.
Mate,
Probably
who is
some
your
announcement
source?
at E3. I can't give away my source. I'm sorry.
Sounds very reliable.
Yeah, Matt, you ever the cynic there, as you can probably tell. Hopefully,
That was
that comes
100%
through.
legit.
But look, I don't know.
Just see, we'll see.
Well, yeah, I guess. But,
HP source.
I mean, obviously, might have been very cynical there, but I mean, I think, it's not exactly news we didn't expect. We know there's a Horizon sequel coming. I assume it's not that long away either. I assume in the next year, 18 months, we'll see it. It'll come out. I mean, first thing to say, I think, is, I can't wait for it because I thought the first game was brilliant.
Yeah, I agree.
One of the best,
Fantastic.
if not the best, exclusive on the PlayStation. It's certainly my favourite game on the PS4, and I know it's one of your favourites, Luke. Maybe not your favourite, but I know it's top 3. So,
Oh, it's definitely in the top 3. Yeah.
yeah. I think you enjoyed it as well, didn't you, Molly? To be fair, when you were playing it.
I mean, in all seriousness, it's to me personally, I prefer Spider-Man. I prefer God of War, but
Yeah.
I prefer
definitely
Spider-Man
a good
too.
game. So
Yeah.
really,
Well, I was going to say, sorry.
sequel.
I was going to say just in the article, and then you can come in, really, is, what do you guys think about this apparent, co-op mode and things like that? See, personally, that when I see that, it makes me think, it makes me a bit like, I don't know if I want to be seeing this,
I'd
really.
be surprised if there was a co-op mode, to be perfectly honest with you. Sony have said multiple times they're focusing on AAA single-player exclusives. I feel like whoever wrote this article and, has got this mysterious source has just put that in as a bit of filler to add to the article, to be perfectly honest with you. Take it with a grain of salt.
What I will say, though, in the article, they do actually also say it could be like a separate mode or completely separate from the main game.
Well, like Mass Effect. When they introduced
It doesn't work, though, does it?
No, I mean,
That's the reference I was just about to use straight away. Mass Effect with the co-op in Mass Effect 3. No one played it.
Some people love that.
But if it's not integrated into the main game, then I don't think people are gonna really be interested in it. Especially if it's just a tacked on mode.
Yeah.
So, I think they should just focus on what they were good at, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I wanted to see this story continue. The story they were telling was really good and it gripped me, so...
You have to remember, though, they have done multiplayer before with Killzone, so... They clearly know what they're doing. Like, I wouldn't completely write off as it's going to be terrible or something if they bring it in, but, they do kind of know what they're doing. They've got, they've worked on Killzone games and multiplayer, so... However, I don't want to really see it. I mean, I'd prefer them to just focus, like you said, on the experience of the single player. But I mean, they also say in the article, don't they, about which it always worries me a little bit when they start using these terms, how they want to increase the expanse of the game and make it bigger, and it's like, that's all well and good, but I don't want to be seeing a world that's got nothing in it. I'd rather have a world as big as Horizons, which was fairly big but not huge, that actually had a lot of stuff in it.
So you don't want gigantic scope?
No, not really. Not unless, their budget is like double or triple what it was for the original, which I guess is possible with how well it did. Because
with games like this, I don't see why you need to make the map that much bigger.
Because if you think about Horizon, the great thing about it wasn't too big, was it? You could traverse the map pretty easily, and it had, cool stuff in it. It was a dense world. It was, it was a very varied world in terms of its environments and stuff like that. But I wouldn't want to be seeing a world where you have to walk across like a mile of like a desert area or something like that. You know what I mean? That has nothing in it. It always worries me a little bit when they start saying. Yeah, it does worry me when they start. That was more worry with like GTA as well. The discussion last week about. It does worry me when they start saying about, it's going to be huge and all. It's like, but you want there to be stuff in it to do,
Yeah, you do, and I completely echo those sentiments. I don't really like when games just have bigger maps and, like you said, just like a bigger desert. space just to turn around and say, yeah, you know, our map's 10 times bigger or 5 times bigger. It's just like, yeah, but was it needed? Is it needed? If it's not needed, just keep it how it was. I mean, obviously, if one's dead small, then yeah, expand it a bit. But
I think we've all played games in the past, haven't we? We've all played games where we've thought, oh, this world's just perfect in terms of its size. You know, I think of games like Mass Effect. It's like perfect size. Literally perfect size, Mass Effect. The areas aren't too big, but they're also not too linear. There's enough room to move around in. The areas are very varied. But then we've all played games where we've been on the map and it's been like, it's literally takes like 2 hours to traverse the map and there's nothing in it, and it's like, you know.
Which game sticks out to you the most with that?
Which game what, sorry?
Sticks out to you the most with that?
With the bad?
Map, yeah, bad example, just the map too big.
It's hard to think of one. I think there was a game I don't think any of you two played it. There was a game I played in 2015, Mad Max. I don't even remember it coming out.
I remember it coming out, but I never played it.
It came out the same day as Metal Gear Solid 5, so not a lot of people played it. And the map in that was absolutely like huge. And maybe I'm being harsh because I guess Mad Max is supposed to be about like a massive sprawling world. So I guess maybe I am being harsh, but I just remember playing that game thinking, I just don't like this sort of game. I've got a good example, actually, Rage 2, that I played last year. I mean, I wouldn't say the map was massive in that, but it was so boring. Like, there was nothing to do in that game, like, in terms of the map. I think you played as well, didn't you, my Rage 2? You know, the shooting was fun and all that, but how boring was, like, the things in it? It's like,
yeah,
so devoid of, like, any life or anything like that. It was, you know. So that's probably a good example of a game where it gets it wrong, but you know,
I think it's just going to be a looker, really. I think if it's going to be a launch game, they want it to be a looker. They're going to play it relatively safe with what it does. I don't think there's going to be too many major changes. Maybe I'll be wrong, but you know, I hope I am, because I always love to see innovation in games in general. But it just seems to me like they're going to play it safe and it's going to look amazing, like the first one did. It's going to come out. It's going to be that little eye candy. It's going to be that guaranteed game that brings people over to the system, and I think that's why they'll play it safe with it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. You know, it's one of them games where I don't think they even need to do too much to it. You know, the game was great anyway. You don't need to be adding tons of new features, really. I mean, you just need to kind of expand on what you've already got. When I say expand, I don't mean by just making the map bigger. I just mean expand in terms of the scope, like in terms of the things you can do with the game and things like that. But you know, the technology behind it. But I do worry, because anytime you hear words that they're using, it does make you think, great, we're going to be going through a map that's like 3 times bigger and have less in it, and it's just like,
well, let's hope
a bit of a worry.
Let's hope they don't. Let's hope if they do make it bigger, they do, you know, put a lot of other features in there and things to do. But this game, if this. Say if this was like is there rumours that it could be a launch game?
Well, launch year, so they reckon like the first year. Yeah, so probably more likely to be next year, but maybe like March next year, early next year, something like that.
I must admit, it would tempt me over.
I know, it is. See,
tell you what though, if it was Spider-Man, I'd definitely buy the PS5.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think, to be fair, we will come on to this a bit. I'll come to my thoughts about this, about what you just said, a little bit later on when we talk about the next topic. But yeah, it is one of them where it is very tempting, isn't it? When you see certain games, it can be tough to make a decision. But it
can be.
I'll come on to that with the next topic. So,
would you be happy for the story to go into a trilogy? Yeah, I
would personally. Yeah, I think I enjoyed the first game. I think it's one of them worlds where you can tell there's a lot more to tell. So I think they could easily make it 3 games, and I'd be pretty happy, to be honest.
I loved learning about the backstory of how we got to this world.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was really interesting.
It was really interesting. Enjoyed it.
And obviously, unfortunately, Perks didn't get to enjoy it. We keep telling him he has an array of games there if he buys a cheap PS4 to play.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, they're talking about reducing the price of PS4 even further still, aren't they? Like towards the end of the year, so there's really no excuse for Perks to.
I'm kind of jealous of
not
him,
pick one up.
That when he does finally pick one up, he's just got so many new games.
He's got like at least 6 to 8 games that he could play easily. They're all top quality, so.
And they really are going to be just some of the best games I've ever.
It's great
played.
For anyone, really, isn't it? I think that'd be my advice to anyone that hasn't picked up a PS4. by now, which there's probably not many left now that haven't. I think it's sold 110 million units, but if you haven't picked one up, I'd definitely recommend pick one up. Maybe towards the end of the year, you can get one for like, they're probably going to go as low as like 130, maybe 140 quid, something like that. So maybe even less. So
yeah,
I think
like you said,
you've got so many games there you can get for such a cheap price now. You can have such a good time there.
Yeah, and I agree. But we'll jump onto the other topic in the PS5 news anyway, and that's PS5 reveal plan for May 2020, but Sony might have to reschedule due to obviously the coronavirus, and the uncertainty there continues. Again, this is from VGC that apparently we're going to have a reveal plan for May. Now, if they decide to reschedule, it's like, oh man, why aren't you going ahead with it?
Yeah, I guess it's like a logistical thing, I would assume, in terms of getting all the pieces together. I mean, it's going to be a digital... Well, they haven't actually said if they're going to even do a digital event, have they? They've just said there's going to be more information in May, basically. Like a reveal thing, but they could easily just reveal it through like a news piece, couldn't they? I assume like pictures and stuff.
Yeah, they could.
I hope that isn't the way they do it. I want them to have a digital event because... I just think it gets everyone more involved if you have that, doesn't it? You know, if it's like a schedule thing that everyone can watch at a certain time, people can like watch it with their mates, can't they, and things like that.
I'd be very surprised if they didn't have a digital event.
Yeah, you would like to hope so, wouldn't you? Because as we know that, you know, we'll come on to this again in a bit, but we know that Xbox is obviously it's heavy rumours, but it's nearly almost fact now that they're going to have two events, one in May and one in June. So you'd like to see something similar for PlayStation, really, wouldn't you? Ideally.
Yeah, you would. And
it just gets everyone excited.
Obviously, with the current situation, it could really get a lot of eyes on that.
Yeah.
Because it would give people something to do, especially gamers, just something to check out.
I feel like if they don't do this as well, if Xbox is going to have Xbox is already getting really good press at the minute. And if Xbox is going to have the lion's share of, you know, eyes on them in May and June, then Sony might have a real problem on their hands because they might have kind of missed the boat with this, in a way. And I know people say, oh, well, Sony, you know, Sony's power and all that, they've got more power than anyone in gaming. And I guess that's kind of, well, you could argue, I don't know about in a minute with Nintendo, but Nintendo and Sony are both probably on an equal in terms of how much, you know, people love them at the minute. But, you know, and traditionally Sony have always been the powerhouse in the industry, and I guess they would still get a lot of views on the product whenever they release. But I think Microsoft have got a real opportunity here. Yeah. If Sony don't reveal anything in May and June, they can really nail home what they're about, and if they can show some really great games that, you know, the expectations are getting higher now for Xbox, so they're going to have to start delivering. But if they can deliver, then
I think Matty touched on it a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. Yeah. It seems like Sony have become a little bit complacent, and it seems to be a trend with when they dominate the generation, they become complacent the generation after.
It does seem to be a weird trend that keeps happening, doesn't it? Yeah, it's definitely a strange one. I mean, the PS2 was obviously, the most successful console of all time, and then off the back of that, the PS3, which, let's be honest, for the first 3 or 4 years was an absolute train wreck. It did recover, to be fair, in its later years, but they lost a lot of ground in that era. And then obviously, we all know, they became a bit more humble with the PS4 at the beginning. To be fair, they've made a great console this generation. There's no doubt about it. It will probably go down as one of the best consoles of all time. I think that's probably fair enough, isn't it? With the amount of great games that's been on there.
I don't think so. I don't think it'll go down as one of the best consoles of all time, to be perfectly honest. I just don't think there's been that many nostalgic games on it, to be perfectly honest. That's nothing to do with Sony. There's been amazing games on it. Maybe this is just me like getting long in the tooth and showing my age, but I don't feel like in 10, 15 years time, a lot of especially the third party games are going to be remembered.
Maybe not the third party, but there's going to be a lot of first party games remembered. People are going to remember God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon. I don't know.
There's 3 games.
Yeah, I know, but if you think about it, there is usually only 3 or 4 games that people remember from any generation that's of like top quality anyway. You don't usually remember for 50 games from a generation, so I don't know. You say about nostalgia, but you have to remember nostalgia is built over time.
Yeah, so I don't know how the future's going to go. I mean, I know that someone who's my age and, you know, this time in 10 years will probably think of Fortnite as a nostalgic game, unfortunately.
and things like that.
But I don't know, like, I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if games like Fortnite and these live service games have sort of attachment to the console that they're on, if that makes sense. I think people think of the service rather than the console, whereas before, you know, great games, I always had nostalgic sort of, I don't know, a connection to the actual console. No, but it's not that. It's like, you know, it's just with a live service game in general, it's not really, like I said, it's not really attached to a console. You can play Fortnite on anything. So, you can play it on a tablet, you can play it on your phone, you can play it on any console, you can play it on PC. So that's the only reason why I don't think it's going to be held in the same sort of nostalgic way in the future that say like the PS1 and PS2 were. I guess that's just personal opinion.
I guess with Fortnite, you'd be nostalgic about what console you played on, wouldn't you?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, I don't know if that's going to be the case or not.
I feel like it would be
on every platform, maybe.
I know it's on every platform, but like if I had a PlayStation throughout the time period of playing Fortnite, I've only ever played Fortnite on Xbox, so every time I think of Fortnite, I think of it on Xbox.
Yeah.
It's a bit like PES back in the day. Like PES, I played PES on both Xbox and PlayStation, but really, I mean, PES 5.
PlayStation, isn't it?
PS2 really? With you guys.
Mean, I actually think that, you know, with franchises like it's like Pro Evolution Soccer. I mean, I still think of PlayStation as the main platform for it, even though we play most of them on Xbox. It's like, it still feels like a PlayStation game to me somehow. It's a strange one, but...
God, we did play a lot, though, us three. I mean, me and Matty did the unthinkable.
PS5 was
won the World Cup with...
PS5 and 6, to be fair, were both really good.
With Scotland. The mighty Scotland.
Yeah, that was good.
It was the greatest achievement in the history of gaming. I'll have no complaints from anyone.
And we even had a parry bro trying to sabotage us.
Yeah, that's true.
Ted plays some inspirational Scottish music and he puts on Drake or something like that. Like, I don't remember Drake coming from Scotland, to be honest.
And he wanted us to change our formation. And he didn't believe in the players that had got us there. Me and you, how much we love Quasi.
We knew those players. We knew our players. We knew what they could give and we knew what they couldn't.
Yeah, no, there was a lot they couldn't give, but we got there.
But so I mean, just going back to this for a minute, I think. Do you two think that? I mean, how likely do you think it is that PlayStation will reveal the console in May, or do you think it's going to be pushed back further on?
I mean,
I feel like they're just going to wait to see what Microsoft does. Seems like the sensible thing to do because they haven't played any of their cards yet, and I feel like the only reason that this is speculated that it's going to be in May is to let Microsoft have their event first and then try and like come in second. Not necessarily react. I get what you're saying with that, but I think Microsoft have been very transparent with what they're offering. So Sony will be under no illusions as to what Microsoft's proposal is with this console. I just think with the sort of clout that Sony have, if they do their conference, say like 3 or 4 days after Microsoft's, it's just going to blow them out of the water in terms of media hype and stuff because, you know, they've got a lot of media pull compared to Microsoft. Yeah. It's always seemed to be
which
that
to be
way.
fair, I would say they've earned. This generation. I mean,
and that's fine, but maybe I'll be wrong. I hope I am. I want to see either conference really. I just want to see one of them at some point. I'm sick of hearing about them now. I just want to see them, but I assume that Sony's is going to be second.
Well, I don't know if you saw mine. I know you follow Phil Spencer on Twitter. Right? He did do a tweet yesterday, pretty much hinting that it's not going to be long now. So if you've got the head of Xbox,
the rumours have been early May. For a few weeks. So
I'm going to assume it's like 99% certain we're going to see some sort of event in early May.
Yeah.
Just based.
I'll have to check in with my source. You'll know.
Ask him.
Yeah, mighty sources. But no, I think to be fair, I think all three of us, and I hope we're as excited as well. But I think we're all excited to see what. But I'm excited to see what both bring, but I think I'm more excited to see what Xbox bring because I kind of expect Sony to bring great games. Like it's like you say with like Horizon, the next Spider-Man, the next God of War. I'm sure they'll have new IPs as well. You kind of expect a level of quality from Sony now, don't you? We kind of know they're going to deliver the goods. Whereas with Microsoft, we're hoping they deliver the goods, but until we see them with our own eyes, you just don't know, do you? So it's going to be interesting.
I mean, I would say Microsoft have been extremely transparent with the studios that they're buying and the vision that they've got for, wanting to make good first-party games again. It's been a year and a half. this is the time to show them now. So,
definitely.
all this talk, like, it's an unfortunate situation that it can't be at E3. There's a lot less hype going around than there normally would be, but they've just got to come out the gates now and just fire everything that they've got, because people are sick of it. I mean, I know especially myself, I'd consider myself probably an Xbox fanboy to some extent. I support them, through a lot of shit times, especially like the last 3 years. The games output's been shocking, but I've been willing to write off this like last year and a half of the generation. Yeah, there's been a few games that are coming out, but I've been willing to write this off in the expectation that they're going to release a lot of good next gen games. So if they don't, I might start to become disillusioned, to be honest, because it's been too long now. It's been years and years since they've released any good new IPs. So they need to just get them out of the door.
You would think as well they know this. They know that.
Yeah, of course they do.
Yeah, they must do. I mean, they're not. I mean, I know people might say, sometimes these execs are not living in the real world, but I don't know. I get the sense with the people at Xbox, they especially like Phil Spencer and people like that, they're more like people that interact with the fans. I mean, surely they must understand that they have to deliver now. I mean, it's not even a case of, we can deliver 2 or 3 good games a generation that are half decent. No, you need to be getting out 8 to 10 that are really good. Like,
there's a lot less pressure on Sony, and that's showing. That's shining through really with the way that they're behaving. It's almost like they're acting like they don't care. It seems to me like they don't even have a strategy internally as to how they're going to reveal this. I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it's just like the way the controller was just randomly revealed. Like, here's the controller, and it's like it's like almost they don't know what's going on themselves.
Well, I don't know if any of you heard, but apparently that controller reveal was because it was about to get like leaked anyway.
Yeah, I've seen something on that.
So they just thought, oh well, we may as well just reveal it then.
But this is what you risk by just staying silent for so long.
This is the problem, and it does go to show you, doesn't it, that I think we're all in agreement here that it seems like, we don't know 100%, but it seems that Microsoft are certainly in a more readiness position for this next gen than Sony at the minute. It feels like Sony are kind of scrambling a little bit around.
Do you think it might not be a little bit of as well, though, that Microsoft needed to come out swinging this generation and to get off to such a good start that they've kind of like over-delivered in that sense?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think it was imperative that Xbox were the ones to hit the ground running. I think that's definitely for sure, because as we know, I don't think we're under any illusions that Xbox have been, they've been trounced really, haven't they, this generation? In terms of, especially in terms of games, in terms of their services and that, they've improved a lot. And in terms of services, that they're definitely ahead of Sony at the minute. But in terms of games, which is at the end of the day is the most important thing, they have been absolutely trounced this generation. They've been embarrassed.
From a pride perspective, the main objective for them this generation will be to try and win back North America, because they're never going to sell consoles in Japan. They're never going to sell consoles.
I'd say the UK as well is a big market.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like, no matter what they do, they could come out tomorrow and release 5,000 new IPs that are all 100 on Metacritic, and people in Japan wouldn't buy an Xbox.
Yeah,
people in mainland Europe wouldn't buy an Xbox. They are so set in their ways now. I feel like their markets are almost lost. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate for Microsoft, but they need to just double down on North America and, like you said, the UK, because they're their 2 biggest markets.
I think if you're talking about like Japan and places like that, the best bet is probably xCloud, isn't it? Mobile gaming. I think that's the only way they might be able to even penetrate 1 or 2% of the market, possibly, is with xCloud and mobile gaming, because obviously, as we know, Japanese gamers are heavily into their mobile and handheld gaming, so that might be the only way they can do it with xCloud. But yeah, in terms of traditional consoles, they've not got a chance in Japan. Even if they, like you said, even if they revealed 40 new JRPGs that were all like on Persona's level or something, they'd have no chance still. But how do you guys think about this strategy that apparently Xbox are going to deploy, as in 2 events rather than 1, and in terms of maybe revealing some things in the May event but then holding back some things to June? Do you think that's a sensible approach? Or would you two just have 1 event where you're like 2-hour event where you just reveal everything?
No, I think it's sensible to break it up. I think because if they nail current situation in the world, a lot of people, everyone's in lockdown pretty much. They need something. You hype up the first event, and as long as that first event delivers, they're going to be even more hyped for the second event, and you're probably going to get more eyes on it. So I think it's a good plan. I don't see how it would be a bad plan.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, in the E3 conferences, we'll probably all agree. Whilst watching them, we all thought the worst part of them was the extra 45 minutes that they shoehorned in. That was just like a sizzle reel of 100 games, and it's like, what the hell is going on? It just felt pointless. So I feel like to give those games breathing room and a little bit more time, it makes sense to have a second event. Obviously, the first event is going to be all about the console and all about their big, main, heavy hitter games. And then after that,
Halo.
Yeah, well,
pretty much.
yeah,
they're going to.
But it'll be Hellblade and Fable will be there probably. As
maybe
well,
maybe 3 games.
To my source, Fable's in development.
This source is really good.
It's kind of embarrassing, but yeah. I mean, I'm going to eat my words. I'm going to eat my words.
Yeah, probably never going to Fable's cancelled.
Never going to be announced.
But, maybe that's your new source probably telling you Fable's cancelled. There you go. But no, I think it's funny with Fable, isn't it? Because I think at this point it's literally pretty much 100% confirmed that that's what Playground Games are working on, and have been working on for the last 2 or 3 years.
They're not even trying to.
Whoa! Where the hell did you get that information from?
Oh, mate, yeah, it's a special source.
Mate, are you guys using the same source?
Yeah,
same HP source.
HP source. Got it from a HP source, but. No, I mean, it is pretty much 100% confirmed. If it wasn't Fable now that Playground were working on, I think it would be probably one of the biggest shocks in the industry or something.
It'd be very disappointing.
It will be Fable, but it'll be Fable kart racing or something.
Mate, I'd try it.
Oh, man, I would not try it.
No, it would be terrible. But, no, it's going to be interesting to see. I think we're all looking forward to seeing a bit more Halo. Obviously, Hellblade looked really good at that at the Game Awards. Fable, I mean, we're all pretty big fans of Fable. I know Perks.
Probably made it clear last week.
He hates it.
There'll be something. There'll be something there. I mean, we're sitting there saying Fable, Halo, Hellblade. It's stuff that we basically already know about. There'll be a couple of massive surprises at this event. I think they've managed to keep under wraps.
Do you think there'll be some sort of third party?
Yeah, but I don't necessarily it would be a third party, but I feel like there's going to be some sort of announcement of some sort of Japanese studio making a game. Don't know whether it'll be an exclusive, but some sort of deal, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
A second party sort of deal.
And then obviously there's a few studios that they've purchased, the Initiative, they've got etc. I can't even reel them off the top of my head. They bought about 15 different studios at this point.
The Initiative's the one making the main game.
But that's what I mean, maybe we'll get to see what they've been working on. Maybe we'll see some of these other developers, some big surprises, because they're all good developers and they've got a lot of money behind them now. So the sky's the limit, really. I
mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Obsidian's got in the works as well. Obviously, off
Obsidian
the back
with
of the Outer Worlds, which I really enjoyed the Outer Worlds. I know you two haven't played it as much, but I really enjoyed the Outer Worlds. And it's one of them games that where you play it, you go, this is a great, I think I've said this before when it came out. It's almost like Mass Effect 1. It's like, great game, great idea. Nice has some problems, though. You can definitely tell it's got problems because of the budget and lack of budget.
Yeah.
So, but with money behind them, I mean, EA pumped loads of money into Mass Effect, didn't they? With BioWare, and look what they got with Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is probably going to go down as one of the best games of all time. I think. It probably already is.
That genre, yeah.
So surely it's the best development in between two games, isn't it?
It's got to be an example of the biggest jump.
I mean, if you go and look at the combat, that's the most night and day change I've ever seen in a game.
Yeah. I mean, the combat in 1, let's be honest,
it's pretty much unplayable.
Yeah.
I hated the combat.
It's funny because everything else about Mass Effect 1 was great, but the combat did let it down in a lot of aspects.
Oh, and the Mako was bad.
I do think, though, they can... If it is the Outer Worlds 2 that's in development, it might not be, it could be something new, but if it is the Outer Worlds 2, I'd be really excited for that, because I'd think with a game like that with triple the budget of the original could be an absolute knockout. So
one word I would say about Obsidian is I think the reason that they've worked as a developer with Fallout New Vegas and the Outer Worlds and stuff is that they've always been a AA developer, and people have been willing to forgive the mistakes of the game. I feel like if they go into making a massive AAA RPG, whether it's the Outer Worlds 2, whether it's a completely new IP, I feel like they need to finally make a game that isn't buggy, because people aren't going to forgive it. If you're going on Microsoft stage AAA RPG that they're touting as the flagship RPG, people aren't going to accept the same bugs that they accepted in Fallout New Vegas and the Outer Worlds and stuff like that.
I will say that with the Outer Worlds, though definitely it was definitely an improvement on their half in terms of like less bugs and like there was still the odd one or two, but it ran a lot better. It ran pretty well actually that game considering the sort of RPG it was. There was nowhere near as many bugs as in previous Obsidian games, so they're clearly on the right trajectory. And like you said, with money as well, you'd hope they completely eliminate that. So that's going to be a long way out there. We're talking probably 2-3 years before that game comes out, the next RPG from Obsidian. They've also got a lot of the sort of AA studios they bought, haven't they? Like Double Fine. They make sort of what they Psychonauts, is it, Matty? That game they made. I've never really played it, but I've heard people like that. So.
It's Tim Schafer's development studio.
Yeah,
they've been hit and miss with all the stuff that they made. They made Brutal
with money behind them though.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, Brutal Legend actually was received pretty well, wasn't it? But
they're a nice developer to have because they'll make you something unique. Yeah. It might not necessarily be a hit, but it will be something that's different.
Yeah, they've got them, and you've got In Exile and teams like that they've also bought, which are kind of, again, they're like double A RPG studios, which, you might think, they make like them isometric top-down RPGs, don't they? Which a lot of people like. But with a bigger budget, they could make a game, on a much grander scale, so we'd hope to see that. It seems like that. It does seem to me, doesn't it, that, how Sony have the whole like first or third person sort of action post-apocalyptic game on lockdown, don't they? It seems to be all they make at the minute. No exclusives. It seems like Xbox is going in the RPG route, doesn't it? Like they're going down. We're going to have the best RPGs.
Be nice.
With Obsidian. And,
I'd love a good RPG.
Exile and even the Initiative, if they're working, maybe they're working on RPG as well. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. But this
is the thing. Like, for the sake of the podcast, I want to be balanced and say the same thing about Sony. These consoles are going head to head. Oh, what's Sony going to have in development? But it's like everything feels like a known quantity. And Sony have always been very good at keeping things under wraps traditionally, but like I haven't heard anything about like new studios, or I've heard nothing. And maybe that's just great, containment on Sony's part. And maybe I'll have egg on my face in like 4 weeks' time when they announce like 5 or 6 new games. But I feel like a lot of the stuff that they're going to show at that conference is stuff that we already know. I feel like there is going to be a couple of surprises. I mean, we don't know what Blue Point are working on.
Yeah, they're clearly working on something big, aren't they? I don't think there's any doubt.
A solid remake or something.
Or Demon's Souls as well.
This isn't even like, all joking aside, this isn't from the fake source. This is just a complete and utter remake. I would not be surprised if they bought the rights to Metal Gear. I honestly would not be surprised at all.
It costs them a lot of money.
Yeah, but Konami are doing nothing with it. Now's the time to try and get it.
Been a lot of rumours, hasn't there, with Sony and Konami? There has been a lot of rumours with Sony and Konami talking about not maybe buying Konami itself, but buying rights to use some of their IPs like Silent Hill, Metal Gear. Yeah. So it wouldn't shock me either. Would anyone be really shocked if they unveil Silent Hills?
No,
wouldn't shock me.
But it's just common sense to me. A franchise as big and as powerful as Metal Gear, you're not just going to leave that on ice forever. Someone will prioritize sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could see something like that definitely happen. And I think what I would say is, though, Sony do always... I agree that a lot of their stuff's a known quantity, but I still get the impression there will be maybe 1 or 2 new IPs, like big new IPs from them.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. They're always good at promoting new IPs, so...
You've got to remember as well, they bought Insomniac, didn't they, last year, who are a really big studio, a massive studio.
Working on Spider-Man.
They're working on Spider-Man. They're obviously working on another Ratchet & Clank as well, because the first one did so well. But that'll be like a small team, I assume, working on that. And that's a perfect launch game, isn't it? Like a Ratchet & Clank sort of game. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's like a launch game. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Insomniac are working on something else as well, because their studio is massive, apparently. They have a lot of... They could even have 3 studios potentially working on things at once. So wouldn't shock me if there's something else coming out in Insomniac.
I think we'll get new IPs from Sony.
Yeah, I do.
No, I think so too, absolutely. I just like... I think it's only going to be a couple, and I just want to know what they are at this point.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not excited about Spider-Man 2. I know I will play it, and I know I will love it because I love the first one. But I know it's a known quantity now, and it's the same with God of War. It's the same with Horizon. Like, we know we're going to get sequels to those games. They critical and commercial success for all of them. We know we're going to get 3 sequels for those. I want to see what else they've got. Yeah. And I think that's the problem. Like, at this conference, people are going to see Spider-Man 2 or God of War 2 or Horizon Zero Dawn 2, whichever one it is. But like, I already kind of know that that's coming, which was, the point that I've been making for the whole video, really. That we already know these games are coming, and I really want to see something new now. And Sony really need to do this sooner rather than later, because, like Alden's touched on before, everyone's sitting at home. This is the perfect time to do a digital event.
Yeah.
So they're completely missing a golden opportunity if they don't cash in on that, in my opinion.
I think though, I'm hoping that they, like you've touched on, have kept these new IPs under wraps, because I know how hard it is in modern day to keep things under wraps, but it would be so nice if they did do a digital event and they actually revealed new IPs that got people excited without them being not ruined by reports, but just having something fresh when you actually watch an event. You're like, I've never actually heard of that. That looks amazing.
I guess that's the extent with the Xbox event, because they've got more to they're going to have more new IPs to show, aren't they? There's no doubt about that.
I mean, you'd hope
Sony. So. I think the last point I wanted to make on this, though, was, and it was a point actually I'd kind of hinted on earlier with when you were talking about, I think you said, didn't you, if they suddenly dropped to Horizon Zero Dawn at launch, it'd make you sway maybe more towards PlayStation. But it is interesting, isn't it? Because I think this time now with these events, it is so important. It is actually crucial to them, isn't it? Because I think there's going to be a lot of people that are on the fence at the minute. And I think I include myself in that, to be honest with you. Like, I am certainly a gamer that's up for grabs in terms of, basically I'm telling them to impress me. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly. But and I think maybe you are a little bit as well, Luke, in the same bracket of like, well, you want to judge it based off, well, show me what you've got, basically.
Yeah, I think we all agree that Sony will probably sell more. Well, will sell more. I think we all agree. But like,
it's not for debate.
Yeah. But like you touched on, there are a lot of people who will be swayed either way by games.
I think so. I definitely
think so. Probably sitting on the fence and just waiting to see, because it's a new generation. A lot of people will give probably Xbox a chance at least to try and grab their attention. So,
absolutely.
I mean, I'm probably going to get an Xbox first. However, like like I mentioned before, like you were saying then, if Sony do come out swinging with a big game in the first year, then I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you imagine a scenario where you get a Horizon, a Spider-Man, and maybe like a new IP that's really interesting in the first, 6 to 8 months of the console or something.
I'm definitely
that is a heavy swayer. It's going to be a heavy swayer for a lot of people to go towards PlayStation. Because I think the problem for Xbox is, the only problem I see for Xbox is I agree that I agree with both of you in terms of I can't see a scenario where Xbox don't, they're going to have something, aren't they, that interests a lot of people, I think. Whether it be the new Fable or whatever it is. My worry is these games are probably going to be quite far out still. That is my one worry about Xbox, that they're not going to be quick enough to initiate people. Whereas Sony could, because we've heard nothing, they could easily have Horizon nearly ready, easily have Spider-Man 2 nearly ready. Even God of War could be, a decent way into development. So that is the one worry I have for Xbox, that I just hope they've got a few things maybe early on to sort of satiate people, really. Because a lot of their projects are going to be a long way out. There's no doubt. Some of their projects are going to be 2022, 2023, even 2024, I think.
They're going to lean heavily on Halo because they have to.
Yeah.
343 have really got to up their game significantly because, I'm a massive Halo fan. I played every game to death. And Halo 4 was all right. Halo 5 was good. I mean, the campaign was shot.
Multiplayer was great.
We've said it 100 times. The Halo 4 campaign.
Really good.
It is actually quite controversial to say it because a lot of people hated it, but I thought it was quite good.
No, I did. I enjoyed Halo 4's campaign, but the multiplayer was bad, wasn't it, in Halo 4?
Literally roles reverse for Halo 5. So hopefully Halo 6, both of them are good. They can take what they've learned from Halo 4 and 5 and finally deliver. That game is. Just think how long in development that game has been in.
5 years, isn't it? Yeah.
It has to be a huge game. Because
it has to be.
343 are a massive studio and they've been given 5 years to make a Halo game. So if they can't deliver, then Microsoft just needs to bin them off because that's fine.
I mean, it is funny, isn't it, you say that, because there's just no scenario allowed really for this game not to be great. I mean, it has to be better than 4 and 5. I mean, there's just no there is no excuse anymore. You can say with Halo 4 and 5, there is kind of an excuse because they're just getting on their feet, as a studio. With Halo 4, they didn't actually have that long to develop that game, did they, really, in terms of they were kind of thrust on it and they were made, weren't they?
Yeah, with that, how quick the turnaround time was on that one.
And then even 5, really, was only a 3-year turnaround. Yeah, 2012 was Halo 4, wasn't it? So a 3-year turnaround. Not long for a Halo game. So they've had an extra 2 years to work on this game over what they did with Halo 5. So there is no excuse, really. And I don't know, I suspect Halo will be great. I don't know if you get that same impression, Marty. I just get the impression they're pretty confident with Halo. And I think they're purposely keeping it quiet to try and surprise everyone when they do reveal it for the first time.
Yeah, they want the gameplay reveal. Obviously, it's going to be running on X. It's going to be running with ray tracing. They want it to look amazing and sell the console. So I understand why they're keeping it under wraps. And, from what we've seen of it, it seems like it's going back to the older sort of Halo style with, a more open world. I wouldn't say open world, but open-ended missions with more space to roam around in, which is what people enjoy in a lot of the Halo campaigns. So it does feel like they're going back to their roots, really, with it. We've just got to wait and see now, because, like I said, we haven't seen much of it, but I imagine that's, purposeful, that they're saving it for the big gun. They're saving it as their big gun, for this reveal event. So
yeah, well, we will have to wait and see, and it does seem like that will be the case at the reveal event. Anyway, that does bring the end to the podcast. Thanks for listening, and if you are listening to us on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts on the topics we covered today. If you're listening to us on any audio platform, please also pass on the pod, as that will help the podcast to grow. You can also follow the podcast on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ChetReachPod. Links will be in the description below, and you can follow the guys on social media. Where can people find you, Sud?
So it's just on Twitter at David Tenspud.
Matty?
At Twitter.
At Twitter. Is that
if you try, I don't know if Twitter have got an account, but they've probably gained 1 or 2 followers from is that at Matty Cheatham.
Lovely stuff, and look out for at Matty Cheatham sources as well.
Yeah. At Journo Spy News.
Yeah, there you go.
No game news.
No. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at LEL3Ds, add a 9 in the end for Instagram. Anyway, we hope you're doing all well and safe and sound in lockdown, best you can, and we hope that hopefully this won't go on too much longer. But thanks for joining us as ever, guys, and we'll be back next week to discuss some more gaming news. Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
See you.